Welcome back, everybody, to the Attract and Stand Out podcast. I'm your host, Darlene Holly. Welcome, welcome. You are in for a treat today because I have my amazing friend, Naheemah McMicheaux-McCallop, and I'm totally stressing on the name, and I think I said it almost right, if not perfectly, but Naheemah is an organizational leadership culture catalyst by trade who went from burnout as a corporate executive turned self-care coach on a mission to disrupt toxic hustle culture to shift legacy while liberating soul care and guilt-free rest. Naheemah, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Darlene. And you did perfect. You pronounced my name perfectly. Nailed it.
It's one of those things. I was just telling Naheemah, I was like, man, it's so hard sometimes when we're doing these podcast episodes and I get these amazing last names or first names and I always like stress myself out. Am I going to say it right? Am I going to say it wrong? I don't want to botch it because I totally know what it's like to like have your name mispronounced. And you're like, all right, we can roll with that today. It's totally fine. But I want to honor you and say it correctly. So I'm glad that I did an okay job.
You did great. Thank you, Darlene.
Well, Naheemah, I am so excited to have you on the show. My audience might know you because you've been a part of my my virtual summits. I think 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now. You were a part of my very first summit, and it's just been such an honor to watch you shine and show up and just be all of you at all times. So I'm excited to have you on as an actual podcast guest now and really like dive in and hear your story and learn a little bit more about you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Darlene. It is just such a joy and an honor to be here with you and your audience. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive in. I've been starting all of my shows lately. Like, I just want to check in. Like, how are you doing? Like, how's life been lately?
Whew. Okay. Life, I love this question because, listen, I'm going to tell you like it is.
Yeah, that's what I want.
That's right. So life has been so amazing and at the same time, so challenging because what's real is parenting fatigue.
Oh, girl, preach it.
I'm just going to tell you, it is real. And the adjustments, right, of this whole year in itself. And I have two, I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and harmonizing between work, the transition that took place for me in my life last year, which brought me right here to being a self-care coach, and making sure that my kids are in their seats, focusing on school while I'm focusing on running a business. It is real. So that's what's been, my biggest adjustment in life right now. And also in how it is that I have been supporting other women is how do we, in this new normal, in this new lifestyle that we are all shifting and adjusting in, take care of ourselves. And also honor the fact that, you know what, we don't have to hold it all together. And if we're feeling some parenting fatigue, let's name it, let's call it out, and let's be there and hold space for each other in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that none of us really planned for. So we were all kind of like thrusted out into this like new unknown world where we're running businesses, we're living our lives, we're taking our kids to school and to sporting activities, and then all of a sudden everything came to that screeching halt, and we had to, adapt and switch things up and get creative and find ways to balance. I don't even like the word balance. Like find a harmony.
Yes.
Today, where we are virtually schooling, we're parenting, we're keeping the house organized and together, and we don't ever leave the house, and we're working from home and managing all those compartments. And I think so many of us are coming, I feel like we're kind of started coming to the other side now.
Yeah.
Starting to like, it's like we're like almost like Groundhog's Day, right? We're like poking our heads out, like, can we come out yet? Can we come play? What's going on? But we're really at a point now where we're, identifying like what's important to us.
Yeah.
What pieces of my old life that I used to do before COVID am I going to allow back into it? Which pieces am I going to say, like, you're not serving me anymore?
Yes.
And I'm going to leave you in the past, and really identifying those things. And I know for myself, I'm being like really conscious of it. Like, what things do I want to say yes to again?
Yep.
Which things were not lighting me up, were not really feeding my soul or my family's soul, and which
Yeah.
things are we going to say no to?
Yep. I absolutely agree. And I think, that's one of I'll say for myself, that's been one of the silver linings in all of this is being able to reprioritize what's important to me in my life. And that's from everything. That's from, my career. That's from looking at what is the legacy that I even want to leave, how am I living into that right now as we speak? And is that lining up? Like, are my values lining up with my actions? And also looking at my lifestyle, am I nourishing myself in the way in which I desire to nourish myself? Am I doing those things? And so that's one of the biggest questions that I've asked myself across this year and this time is, am I doing the things that I said that it is that I want to do? And like you said, I love that you said that lights me up. And if I'm not doing that, what shifts, adjustments, changes am I going to make in my life so that I am moving in the direction that I actually want to go in and doing the things that I actually want and desire to do versus the mundane routine, which I know I've been there because that was the biggest transition that I made last year in the pandemic, which was coming out of burnout and overwhelm from corporate executive leadership position, where, honestly, I was losing my hair. It got that bad. I was a shell of a wife, a shell of a mother, and I was not lit up. And so it's interesting how God works because I knew that I needed to make a change, but God made that change a lot sooner than what I did. And so when that transition happened and my department closed down, it was like a new beginning for me. And to be honest, it was a new beginning where I got to discover myself again. And I got to relearn who is Naheemah. What does Naheemah love? And I got to go on my own self-care, self-love journey. And I will tell you this, I've been here before. So for all of you who are watching, it's like when we go through these transitions in life, we come to this place where we have ask ourselves, who are we? And I know that I was here when I had my kids and I became a mom and I was like, but who am I? Who am I outside of being a mother? And I had to ask myself that question again last year, which is, who am I outside of this identity as corporate executive? And who is it that I want to be? And so when I asked myself that question last year, it was, I want to be that vibrant woman, not just the vibrant mom, but I want to be the vibrant me, the vibrant Naheemah, first and foremost, who I like to say is freely me, freely me. And that's the shift. And that's the path that I help my clients to walk in is, who are they? What is their definition of freely them? And how do they step into that?
I so love that. And so many people struggle with finding out who they are, and they
Yeah.
don't, I think society trains us to like wear a mask and like not show all of ourselves and to be something that maybe we're not comfortable
Yeah.
being, or that we're not actually like we feel like we should be something that we're not actually able to be. And we
Right.
put pressure on ourselves to like show
Yeah.
up for other people the way they see us or they want to see us. And we never really show up as ourselves.
Exactly.
The most beautiful things we can do, especially in this day and age when we're at a time where vulnerability and authenticity and like showing up and being yourself are so talked about and
Yeah.
valued. And we really like we want this now. Like we're finally at a point where we're saying like, no, see me, see all of
Yes.
me, not
Yes.
the parts that I've paraded around. I don't know if parading around is the right word, but like that I've it's almost like that mask. Like I
Yeah.
definitely think back to times in my life where I was wearing a mask and I was
Yep.
doing what I thought I should do, being
Yep. Checking the boxes, right? check. Okay, I'm doing this. This is what I've been conditioned, because the fact is that we are conditioned. We grow up conditioned to be or to think a certain way, and then we get to this point where we're like, wait, but what part of that is like actually what it is that I want? And I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned is that I don't fit in a box, and I'm not supposed to. And that is for everybody. You don't fit in a box, and you're not supposed to.
We're not Christmas presents.
Exactly.
We're like amazing human beings who are here to serve and to give and to participate and engage with people. And we're not supposed to be wrapped up with a shiny bow. Like, I want to see the messy, all the pieces. Like, we don't have to be like this perfectly tied Tiffany's box. Which, is fine. Sometimes, like, we might feel like we want to, have those pieces look like they're together because we're, fighting something inside, or we're going through like those internal struggles. But knowing that it's okay to come unraveled and to show up as ourselves. And I know a lot of the work that you do with your clients is around like that self-care piece and finding ways to take care of you first. So that you can take care of others.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little backstory to like how you came onto this path and like what things in your life transpired to lead you here?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I will start off by saying I was the epitome of the strong Black woman, and to be honest, I was a replica of my mom and my grandma and her mother before her, of holding it all, doing it all. And earlier when I talked about conditioning, that was part of my conditioning. That was what it was that I saw growing up, is that, you just push forward and you don't stop and you put your needs last. Your kids are the priority before you. And to be honest, that piece was intergenerational trauma that I didn't even realize existed until I got older, until I learned more, until I realized, wait a minute, there's a pattern here. And it is up to me to break this pattern. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about self-care, is because to me, us breaking that pattern of intergenerational trauma is us leaning into rest, is us giving ourselves permission to actually rest and make ourselves a priority and actually advocate for ourselves. And so that's part of just a little snippet of my backstory of why I am so passionate about this work, especially in serving women of color, because I understand, because I get it, because we fall into this rhythm that we don't even realize that we're in. Like earlier when I said, we don't fit in the box. Well, sometimes we find ourselves in that box and we don't even know that we're in it. And so what do we do to break free from it? And so how I support my clients in breaking free is the first thing that you can do is to learn to love yourself. To learn to love yourself and to learn to prioritize you. And for me, when I made those shifts in my life, it was like I was not only healing, but also opening up the door for my kids, giving them permission to make themselves a priority. Because one of the things I always say is that, by you investing in rest, you give your legacy the permission to do the same. And so when I said earlier, what I saw growing up was the epitome of the strong Black superwoman schema, I decided that I wanted to do different for my kids. I wanted them to see a mom who wasn't always exhausted and who always said, I'm tired, baby, not right now. And so what it is that I teach my clients and I do myself is, one, my kids know that mommy's a priority.
Yeah.
My kids know that mommy's taking time for herself. And what I love about this journey is that I can also include them. So we can have time where we do yoga together. We can have time where we actually meditate as a family. We can have time where we sit and we read books and we journal. And we just take that time, as I like to call it, to divine pause. And for me, what divine pause means is a temporary stop to rest, to be still, and to connect up. Because especially as moms, we are constantly moving, and we are moving fast, juggling a lot. And so when we just take a moment to just pause, to be present, to practice mindfulness, we're able to take what it is that we need for ourselves to pour back into ourselves. And for me, the biggest piece of that definition is connecting up. Connecting up. Because I find that when I'm at a place in my life where I feel frustrated, I'm frazzled, it's because honestly, I'm moving faster than God. And I forgot whose I am, and I forgot who I am. And so when I take that time to just connect up and to realign and to divinely align, then I'm able to remind myself, okay, God's got me. It's all going to be okay. It's under his control.
Yeah. I love that you say that, like connecting up.
Yeah.
Like and just allowing yourself to like take that space to reflect and recharge and reset and like connect up, like, am I on the right path?
Yeah.
Like asking yourself those questions. And I love that you mentioned like the intergenerational
trauma,
like, because so many of us, I feel like, at least like this generation, I feel like we're trying to heal from those past traumas, and we're trying to do things in a different way, and we're trying to show up in a different way for our families and leave that legacy piece and it, transition it, change it. And not all of it's necessarily bad, but like there's always those pieces where we want to do better, we want to do more, we saw things that didn't resonate with us, and we're being a change maker and going out there and doing it. What do you say to women who are in that journey and they're trying to make the changes and it feels so hard, or it feels like it's not possible?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is to give yourself grace and compassion, and to know that the first step, sorry, my daughter came in. The first step truly does start with you. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, sweetie.
Thank you, boo-boo. Okay, go ahead. You're the best, baby. I love you. Thank you. And that honestly, the first steps starts with us. So to give yourself grace and compassion, and to take a deep breath. And honestly, when you prioritize you and you make you the focus, it really does alleviate the pressure and the stress, because you're not worried, or you're not so much focused on trying to be everything to everybody. And you can just give yourself your full permission to be who you need to be for you. So that's the first, or maybe I said two things in there. One, grace and compassion. Two, be who you need to be for you.
Yeah. And I love that you said, like, obviously giving yourself grace, like that's huge. But then also like realizing that you don't have to be everything to everyone. And you can choose how you're going to show up to those relationships and what pieces of yourself you're willing to give to those places.
Absolutely. 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 And that's one of the things that I love about this work that I feel so honored to do is to hold space for women. And that, to me, that's so important. Just to hold space, to know that, you are seen, you are heard, and you are valued, and you can literally come as you are. Earlier, you mentioned, where sometimes we've had those times in our lives where we felt like we needed to wear a mask. And the environment that I create through my coaching cohorts or divine positive treats is you do you get to be you. Like, you are loved coming in the space being you. Because what I know is that, the women leaders that I serve, y'all are bosses. You're those executives, you're those, entrepreneurs. And with that, you also hold a big responsibilities where you are a shepherd of many. And you are, oftentimes the go-to person, and you are the one who people are looking up to. And sometimes when we have that pressure, even like as a coach, right? It's like, I'm a coach, but I have coaches as well. I have mentors as well, because I need that for myself. I need to have that sense of community where I can go to and just be held. So that's one thing that I just wanted to uplift and mention, is that community is so important, especially as, the leaders that we are, so we can just be held sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And every single one of us, like, we need
Mhm.
that community. We need that support. And it's okay to raise our hand and say, like, hey,
Mhm.
I need help. And I think so
Yeah.
many of us are so afraid to raise our hand and like let people know, like, I'm struggling here, or I need support,
Yes.
or I need help, or I need someone to come help with the kids or do the laundry or like any of those things, right? We're
Yes.
so afraid of what other people will think of us if we
Right.
show that we can't do it all. And we don't, and it's like, we don't need to be able to do it all. We should be
No.
like, this is something that I know I struggled with for a long time. And I think I've gotten better. And I'm sure there's still moments where I'm like the first person to go help everybody else.
Right.
When I need something though, I'm like, oh, I got this. Like, I'm good. Like, don't
Right.
bring me dinner. I got this.
Right. Right. Oh, I don't need to ask. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of that. Yeah.
But it's
Hmm.
such one of those like self-aware pieces that like when I
Hmm.
hear myself ask for help,
Hmm.
I applaud myself. I'm like, oh, like I just did that. Like,
Yes.
I'm we're all learning. We're all like in that transitional stage where we're,
Yeah.
taking it day by day.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, I can ask for help for this, or I can hire a cleaning company to come in and
Yes.
support me, or I can ask, somebody to help with the kids when I need something
Yes.
like that, and not feel like I'm alone to
Yes.
do it all on my own. And that it's even that way in business, right? Like,
Yes.
as our businesses are growing and as we are creating these empires, like, it's okay to say like, oh, I know how to upload a podcast interview, but I don't need to do that anymore. I'm going to hire a virtual assistant to come in and do this
Yes.
piece for me, because it's
Yes.
okay to ask for help and it's okay to not
Yes.
do everything.
Yes. That right there. That right there, Darlene. Yes. And that is so important to me. That's probably my uniqueness in how I look at self-care, because self-care is not this like just this glorified, you know, I'm going to go to the spa and get a massage and get my hair done or my nails done. And trust me, I like doing all those things.
It doesn't fill you up in the same way
Ex-
as,
Exactly. Exactly. Because self-care is exactly what you mentioned. That is self-care. That's self-care, is giving yourself permission to ask for help, giving yourself permission to say, you know what, I don't need to do it all. Yes, I can hire somebody to help me in this area, or yes, I can ask for help for myself in this area, because I don't need to carry all the pieces and juggle it on my own. Or yes, I can celebrate myself for those moments when I've said and asked for help. You know, that those pieces That is self-care. That is making self-care lifestyle, which is what it is that I teach. It's not just an event, it's a lifestyle. It's what we do. It's what we say. It's how we decide to show up and operate in our legacy now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to change gears a little bit. Like when it comes to your business,
Mhm.
I'm curious, like what have been some of the biggest things you've had to overcome as you've like transitioned from like the corporate industry and then starting your own practice? What have been like the obstacles or the things that have felt like they've maybe tripped you up a little bit or that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I thank you for this question. And I feel like this is something that maybe even you or your guests would relate to, because the biggest obstacle was myself. The biggest obstacle was me believing in myself, believing in my dream, and knowing that I was worthy of it. And me um, really shedding the layer of who I was to become who it was that I wanted to be, and standing in that truth and believing it for myself. Because I knew who I was as a corporate executive, right? I knew that. That was like, even though it was stressful and I was in burnout and overwhelmed and overextended and all the things, I knew that.
Yeah.
So it was comfortably uncomfortable. What I didn't fully know was this version of me right now as an entrepreneur, as a self-love mentor, as a life harmony strategist, as this liberated mindset coach who supports women to be freely themselves.
And I
That's who I didn't know.
Yeah, and so many people could absolutely relate to that because I know for myself, even like coming out of retail management and going into entrepreneurship and becoming a business coach, I knew what was expected of me. I knew how to show up and do my job, and I was
Yep.
amazing at it. I was really good at it. And then all of a sudden, I was like in this new environment, and it was like fish out of water. I knew how to be a coach. I knew how to like support clients, but like
Yeah.
you don't know how to do like the other pieces to the business parts, right? Like the marketing, the connecting, like getting the
Oh my
client.
gosh.
All those pieces are all things that we struggle with in the beginning. I know I struggled, and most of my
Yeah.
clients are struggling. And when they come to me, it's like, okay, I'm really good at what I do, but how do I go get clients? How do I get people to understand what I do so that they're like, oh, pick me. Like, I want to work with you. And
Yes.
I know for myself in those first couple of years, like it was definitely a learning process, and I learned a ton, and I still learn a ton now, but I
Yeah.
figured it out. So I know how to do it now. Where in the beginning I was like, wait, what am I doing here? Like it was so much easier to like identify as an employee
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
just know the expectations and what that actually entailed versus as an entrepreneur who's like getting their feet wet and like, what am I doing over here?
Right. Right. And literally like allowing myself the opportunity to live in the possibility, right? The possibility of not seeing it as failure, but seeing it as a growth opportunity, that no matter what it is that I'm doing, I'm learning in this. And so it's not about, only do it if it's going to be perfect, right? Only do it if I'm going to succeed. But it's like, no, let's swim in this water. Let's explore, and let's give me the opportunity, right? Versus the opposite, which is an employer giving me the opportunity. I'm allowing myself to give me the opportunity to make my dream possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that, like you say that, like you're giving it to yourself. Like this is
Yeah.
your dream. You're stepping
Yeah.
into who you are.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely. What is the way that you define success for you in your business?
Mm. You know, to me, there's levels of success. Yes, it is, the financial piece where my business is fully running operational, it flows, it's sustainable, it's sustaining itself, right? And yet it's also a feeling for me. Success is a feeling of every day having the joy, being lit up by what it is that I do, and being able to do it like uninhibited, like freely, unbothered, and just being able to be the fullest expression of myself while living my life. Like, to me, that's success in my life and success in my business, because they both go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we go into entrepreneurship, is so we can have that life and like our life and our work life. Like it's still our life. Like I feel like it's like a
Yeah.
different type of infused
Yeah.
reality when we're entrepreneurs. Like I could very clearly separate like retail management and family. And then
Right.
as an entrepreneur, it's like this beautiful like melody
Yes.
when it comes to
Yes.
the life that we lead as an entrepreneurs, because we don't really like, you can't like, I mean, I might close my office door when I leave my office and walk out to the living room, but at the same time, like as entrepreneurs, like we're always seeing and dreaming and
Yeah.
wondering and like taking notes or getting ideas, like I think my favorite places to get ideas is going for a walk with
Oh
the
my
kids,
gosh.
or if I'm taking
Mhm.
a shower, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, and I have to like jot it down in my notes tab as soon as I can, because I'm not technically working right then, but I don't want to lose
Yes.
that at the same time.
Yes. Yes. I absolutely agree. It is a beautiful dance. And it's one that, I'm gonna be honest, that I am still learning how to do. And I think it's one of those things that I'll always be learning and evolving in, because it's like they're one and the same, and as I become and evolve into the different iterations of myself, and as we all do, as we grow, that will continue to evolve.
Absolutely. I'm curious, what is next for you, like in your business? Like, what are some of like the ways that you want to work with clients and support them, or do you have any like shifts or pivots on the horizon in your business?
Yeah. Well, one of the ways is I have a small container of women in my Divine Pause cohort, and it's a beautiful opportunity for women to come together in community and to really dive deep into giving yourself full permission to rest, prioritize you, and love you always. Because I know, when I've seen these transitions in my life and with clients, one of the things they constantly say that's the same is that I lost myself. And so this is that opportunity for us, again, to have that safe container and sacred space for you to find you, and for you to love you, and for you to get that spark back and to be poured into. So that's one way. And then I also have my deep dive sessions, where it is a beautiful experience, where literally you come out with a self-care lifestyle plan. And I mean, we talk about it all. We're planning out, like, what do you want your next year to look like? So we're moving in that place of possibility, but we're also putting action behind it. And you're really thinking about, what is my own mission? What is my mission statement? What is my vision statement? What is the legacy that I want to leave? And because oftentimes we don't think about that. But one thing I say is that if we don't plan, we will live our life on default. And I don't think that's something that any of us want. And I don't think that is what we're meant to do here. We're supposed to live the life, our most abundant and fullest life. And I believe that that's the plan that God has for us. So that's one way. And then next year, I have a series of retreats coming up called Divine Pause Retreats. And I'm so excited about that. I will tell you right now, I'm ready for vacation. I don't know about you, but I'm ready. Yes. Yes. So it is just a wonderful time to be in a community of women. Again, similar to our cohorts, but we're just somewhere else by the water, on the beach, having some good food. And for us to rest, to learn to prioritize ourselves, and to have fun, like to bring the fun back in life, because sometimes we get into this rhythm of where we're just do. And my mission is I want to disrupt that hustle in your life. I want to disrupt the hustle with some prioritized time for you.
Absolutely. I so love where you're going with your business. And I know that so many people are going to resonate with that. And where our souls are searching for that right now.
Yeah.
And it's like we've been, like, none of us have been able to go anywhere, right? So there's going to be such a big desire and a big need for retreats and spaces for women, especially, to like show up and just really work on themselves and just be and not have to like go and do and all of that action that comes with it. Like sometimes it's so important just to be still. And so this conversation has been amazing. Like, thank you for showing up and just being you and lighting your light in the world. As we start to wrap up, I always love to do some rapid fire questions just to kind of get to know who Naheemah is a little bit different than the conversation led today. So I'm curious, do you have a morning routine? And what does it look like?
Absolutely. Yes. Normally I am up early because, as you saw, my daughter. So if I do not get my morning time in, once they're up, they're on, right? The kids don't stop until they go to sleep. So my morning routine looks like me, prayer, going to God in prayer. It looks like journaling. It looks like worship. It looks like going outside for a walk. And I'm not saying that I do all of them, but I will tell you, I at least do one or two each day of just having that time to literally take my own divine pause, to refuel myself, to prepare myself for the day and get what it is that I need so I can have the fuel to move forward and operate from a place of overflow. So one thing I say, it's not just about filling your cup, it's about pouring enough in your cup so you can, what you pour out is the overflow versus keep on pouring out where you don't have much left in your cup. So that's my intention with my morning routine. And also throughout my day, I take several divine pauses. And that divine pause is, like I said, it's either a temporary time to rest. I'm an avid napper, to be still, to lean in, to be, to connect with my own feelings and ask myself, how am I doing today? And to connect up with God.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who, if you had to name one person, I know this is hard sometimes, but who has been like the biggest impact or influence in your life? Whoever comes to mind first.
I would definitely say, it's like for me, my obvious answer is God. Because my faith is, I wouldn't be here without God. And, the other person that I also think of is my dad. I have learned so much from my dad, and I call him my daddy. My daddy, he's just been just such a rock in my life, and just, he's the one who helped me open up the door to know that it's okay to not be okay, and to not judge myself when I'm not okay, and to ask for help. So I would say my dad.
Awesome. And I'm always curious, are you binge watching anything on TV or Netflix right now?
I wish I could say I could. but I'm, I don't know how it is for the rest of the world, but I'm like, for me, the days are, so full with kids and work and my time for me, usually my time for me, it looks like, as I said before, it's like similar to my morning routine where either I'm journaling or I'm pouring back into myself. So I can honestly say I do not watch much TV.
I love to ask that question because it's such a mix. It's either, yes, I'm binge watching all the things, or it's no, not so much, just a few things here and there, or nothing. So
Yeah.
I'm also
Yeah.
curious. It's funny because I feel like a lot of people that I've talked to and interviewed recently, like because of COVID, they've like found time in their day where they're like, yeah, I've actually been binge watching stuff that I never would have had prior to COVID. And then I feel like I'm somewhere in between it all because I definitely have been binge watching at like bedtime. Like I'll watch
Mhm.
like whatever show. I don't get to watch like all 10 episodes in one night. Like I'm not one of
Yes.
those people. I wish,
Yes.
but I'm too tired at the end of the night. I'm like one show, one episode. Okay, maybe.
Yes. Yes.
But it's just funny like how many people are like, yeah, I'm actually like gotten into like some shows and I'm like I watch one episode or one season in like one night and I'm like, yeah, I
I
can't.
love it. I love it. Hey, you know what? Sometimes, we need it. I will say I've been watching a lot of, because Fridays is our family fun night. And
Yeah.
so we always do a movie night. So usually the kids end up picking a movie. But one of the movies that we did watch recently that I really liked was was it called? The Yes Day?
Oh yeah, that was super cute. We watched
I'm
it.
like, that was adorable. It was adorable. So
It
yeah.
was cute. And my kids are like, so mom, when are we gonna have our yes day? And I'm like,
Oh,
I don't
you already know.
handle it.
You already know that my kids too. They're like, okay, so when are we having our yes day? I'm like, never.
I'm like, after watching this, I don't know what you would do to me. So absolutely. And my last question for you, Naeemah, is, and I can't do it today, but I wish I could. But if I gave you a travel or a plane ticket to travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
The first place off the top of my head is I would go to Kenya and Zanzibar. It's actually one of the destinations that I'll be going to next year for the Divine Pause retreats. And the reason being is because my dear friend lives there, like literally my sister. And I have been trying to get there for I don't know how many years. And I finally said, I am going to see her. I'm going to make it happen. So if I was able to get there sooner, I would get there. But if not, then I'll wait till next year. So I would go see my girl in Kenya.
That sounds amazing and
Yeah.
lovely. And I love that the Divine Pause retreat might be there. So
Yes.
keep us
Yes.
updated on how that all comes together because I know it's going to be amazing as you could only put on an amazing event.
Oh.
I know people are going to want to connect with you. Can you tell our guests, like, where should they come? Is it your website, social media that you like to hang out? Where should they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on at storyinsideyou.com. That's my website. You can find me on IG, Instagram at Story Inside You. So story, STORY, inside you. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Naeemah. So any of those places, I'd be happy to say hello, have a coffee chat, get to know you. I love meeting new people. So yeah.
Definitely take Naeemah up on that. She's amazing and you'll definitely have a wonderful conversation. And I know that you have a free gift for everybody that listens today. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So what I have for you is I hope, and I think you're going to love it, is making self-care sustainable in the pandemic.
We all need that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a quick how-to with some tips and tools that you can literally implement immediately after you read it. Because one thing I know is that we're all in it, right? We're all in this space where it's like, how do I even think about self-care right now? I got too many things going on. So I want to just take some of that ease and that pressure off of you. And again, my intention and my goal and my mission in this work is to disrupt your hustle and make self-care fun and easy, and know that it is something that can be sustainable in your life if you allow it.
Absolutely. Such a wonderful gift, Naeemah. Thank you so much for being on the show today and just being you and sharing yourself so wholly. I so appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Darlene. I appreciate you, sister. Thank you. And I thank you for creating this platform and this opportunity for myself and other guests that you have on your show to share stories. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, that's another episode for the Attract and Send Out podcast. Go out there, be you, show up as yourself, and keep doing the amazing things that you're doing. I will see you next week.